Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome back to episode number 2 of drumroll. We have a name, the Edge of Becoming podcast. Thank you to everyone who voted and had input. And thank you to that someone who acknowledged that he hit the wrong button on Instagram, because that would have totally changed the trajectory of this podcast, what it was called, and all of the beginnings. So thank you so much. Secondly, I really want to thank everybody who has been so supportive of me launching this podcast. If you have watched episode 1, if you have reached out and sent through a message, I've received so much love and support from so many people. And honestly, like, your support means the world to me. So I'm just super grateful, honestly. Like, whenever we stretch ourselves, I think sometimes to the outside world, it can look like, oh, of course, it's so simple, right? We get so used to watching podcasts. We get so used to people, posting on social media. We see things that people make look really easy, to be honest. But when you go and do the thing, it's like a whole other stretch. And that's absolutely how I have found this experience. But I'm here for it. I'm here to stretch, I'm here to grow, and I'm here to take you on the journey with me to support your stretch, to support your becoming. So thank you so much. Your support has meant the world to me. I've been floating on a bit of a creative high since I launched the first podcast. And you know that feeling when your soul vision finally becomes real, like you see the thing manifest into reality. Like, that's where I've been, and that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today and to share with you. Is I want to talk about your visions, your soul-led dreams, the creations that are actually waiting to be birthed through you. And you, my friend, are the perfect person to birth these creations into existence. Whether it's a business, whether it's to build a home, whether it's to build a garden, whether it's to create a family, whatever it is not the issue, right? Like, things don't have to be judged as big or small in terms of importance. It's how much does my soul deeply desire to bring this vision to life. So why is this important? Well, your vision matters. It matters more than you realize. It's what your soul actually came here for. It's not just some like airy fantasy, some kind of wishful thinking. It's a soul imprint. It's a calling. It is a compass. It is your true north, and it's where you need to be heading in your life. Now, I'm not just talking about like the wishful thinking that actually, when you tune into the wish, it doesn't really bring you joy. I'm talking about those deep seated desires that deep within is what you would love to be doing. The second reason I really want to bring this up right now is the astrology right now. It's no joke. The current energy, it's initiating us. It's a birthing portal, like, it's potent. And we're being called to like hold the tension between the dream, hello Neptune, the planet, and the very real limitations that exist in life. Thank you, Saturn. So we have like this this tension that exists between the dream and the vision that wants to pull us up into the heavens. It wants us to, reach for the stars. But we also have this earthy groundedness that's like, hang on a second. How are you going to pay for that thing? How are you going to make that happen while you've already got one job? How are you going to do that while you have kids? How are you going to do that within the limitations? And so that can be a really challenging part of having a vision or a dream, is holding the tension of the two. But when we can do that, like magic can happen. And that's because this is the dance between the soul and the structure. When we have a dream or a desire, sometimes it feels like life pushes back, like it's that Saturnian energy. It's as if the obstacles mean like, oh, maybe you're not supposed to do that thing. Maybe maybe this isn't for me. Maybe it was just a dream. Maybe it was just a fantasy. But let me be really clear when I say this. that is not what is happening, not when it is your true north. And you'll know, because the thing that you deeply desire will keep circling back. And every time you swat it away like a fly, it will keep circling back again. It will be this nudge that you're like, go away, or it's not possible. But if it was, how cool would it be? So I'm not talking about those ideas that seem like a good idea, but when you really tune into it, it's not what you want. I'm talking about the things when you actually think about, if I really had that thing, if I really had that business, if I really had that relationship, if I really lived my life on these terms and it brings you deep joy and excitement, that's what we want to focus on. So in that process of reaching for a dream, there can be a recalibration that takes place. So it's not a rejection, it's a recalibrating. You might feel like you're taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and it's like, oh, am I meant to do this thing? But what's really happening is it's actually like a refinement of your path. It's a gathering of tools. So sometimes we've gone to move forwards, but we're not quite ready. We forgot the hammer, and so we've got to kind of go back to the past, and we've got to collect it, and then we can move forwards to go and start building the house. So it's really a strengthening of your inner scaffolding, so that when the moment does arrive, you don't just receive the dream, like you're actually ready to hold it. You're ready to build it, and you're ready to hold it, to have it. So this is not your sign to give up. If you've been working towards a goal, a dream, or a vision, and you're kind of resonating with this is your sign. Don't give up. It's recalibration. So the version of you who is living the dream, that version of you is not so far off. It's not so far off that you think that it's, way down the track. That version of you is so close, right? That's why you can kind of connect with it. And that version of you is just waiting to be remembered, to be revealed, and to be reclaimed. Because here's the thing, when a vision lands in your heart, it's not just hopeful, wishful thinking. It's not your imagination running wild. It's a soul memory. It already exists. It is in the quantum field, right? Energetically, it's it's just beyond a veil. You just can't see it yet, right? It's in your energetic portal. Now, the only gap is you are catching up to it. So let's ground this for a second. Think about the responsibilities that you hold now. Think about the position that you're in your place of employment. Think about your role within your family unit. Think about maybe responsibilities you have in your community and how you show up. And now picture the you from 10 years ago. Picture him or her and just tune into that and ask, would that version of me have had the capacity to hold what I'm currently holding? The responsibility, the expectations, the wisdom, the knowledge, the skills to carry out my day-to-day tasks? Probably not, right? Maybe his or her ego was far more fragile than yours, right? When you think about being a new employee, and you care so much about what your boss thinks of you or what your colleagues think of you, whether you've put the pen back in the right spot, whether you have done the most mundane tasks in a way that, is acceptable and professional and, as expected of you. Right? That version of you compared to now. So hopefully you've progressed from that version. But you get what I mean? That old version just didn't know what you know about themselves, about life, about how the world works. they didn't have the level of insight that you hold, and therefore the capacity to fill the shoes that you currently fill. And as I say, like, their ego would have been more fragile. They might have felt like, if they got feedback, it might have felt like a personal attack, like, where did I go wrong? I should have done better. And then maybe, converted that into a belief that said, I'm not good enough, I'm failing. So that was the old version of you. Whereas now, when you look at what you know now, like, your life reflects that. Your life reflects the wisdom that you hold. I'm sure that your position at work reflects the years that you've been employed in a particular role. And if you're a younger person and you're watching this, please know that you will grow and evolve over time. Like, it's just a natural progression that takes place. But what happens is, like, if we went into our initial role, let's say we went in as CEO, everyone's like, amazing, I want to be CEO of a company. But what does a CEO actually do? What kind of wisdom do they have to hold? What kind of certainty in their decisions must they have? A newbie who's coming in as receptionist doesn't have the wisdom, the skills, the knowledge, the capacity to embody the role of the CEO, even if they were granted it. And we all go on this path, right? It is the rite of passage. It's a rite of passage to step into every phase and stage that allows us to actualize our dream. But sometimes we want the bigness of the dream, but we're not ready to hold it. So for example, for me, and here's like a little bit of a vulnerable share, one of the things that I have really been working on is my relationship identity. When I've thought about the kind of relationship that I want to have, the openness, the connection, the communication, the willingness to be vulnerable, the willingness to let go of my ego, I have had to do so much work in those areas to evolve into the version of me that can hold the kind of relationship that I desire. Right? My 16-year-old self couldn't have had that. My 20-year-old self certainly wasn't in a space to hold that. And in all honesty, my 30-year-old self wasn't in a space to be able to have the relationship that I desire and that I won't settle for anything less than, right? So we have to understand that all of the trials and the challenges are part of our becoming. They are the very things that shape us into the version that can have the dream. They're absolutely not here to serve as like an omen or a sign that it's not meant for you, it's not meant to be. And it's absolutely not confirmation that you're not good enough or that you're not meant for that dream. If you could dream it, it has to exist. Because here's the thing, God, source, the universe, whatever you want to call it, God isn't like some trickster. God doesn't like dangle a carrot and say, imagine this beautiful dream. Imagine that you are CEO of a company, or imagine that you own your own clinic and you get to serve all of your beautiful clients in a particular way that lights you up. Or imagine that you have this beautiful relationship where there is open-heartedness and connection and vulnerability, but it feels really safe. Like, God doesn't dangle these carrots and then be like, but that's not for you. You don't get that. I just wanted to show you, to tease you, to show you something and take it away from you so you would know longing, that you would know what the absence of your dream would feel like, right? God doesn't work like that. As I say to people, God is not like some mean mummy or daddy that deprived us of things. That is not the intention of God or the universe. When we look at the universe, when we look at Earth, It is abundant. It is giving. Like nature is abundant. The universe is abundant. It wants to give to us. It doesn't want to take from us, right? That goes into a whole other complex thing, but it doesn't want to take from us. So when it gives to us, part of the giving is the seeding of a dream or a desire. Now, not all of us have the same dream and desire. Like, I don't desire to go and be a big business person who's CEO of like an empire and has like 1 million staff working under me. I don't desire to go and become a real estate agent and sell homes. I don't desire to become a doctor. I don't desire to go and be an advocate where I'm constantly fighting for a cause. But you may be. Like that might be your dream. It might be your desire. And if that's the case, you've been given that dream for a reason. And it's because you are the perfect person to birth that dream into existence. Your traits, your qualities, your passion, your wisdom, your intellect, your humor, your unique gifts are the very things that make you the perfect custodian of that dream. It's then the world that gets in the way. It's then our conditioning that has us believe otherwise, right? When we look at children, they have these dreams, these big visions, and they truly believe it's possible. Why? Because the world hasn't gotten to them yet. The world hasn't gotten to them and said, well, how are you going to fund it? Which is something we do have to look at. But their vision, their dream hasn't been detracted from. No one has said, yeah, but you're not smart enough for that. Or really, don't you think you should be, focusing on this rather than that? And it certainly hasn't said, well, other people aren't doing that. So that would be really weird and odd if you chose to live your life like that. And so they dream big. And in their bigness of their dreaming, they experience joy, they experience passion. And you see how children manifest like amazing experiences into their reality. But as we go on our journey, sadly, as we're learning how to navigate the world, which is an important part, we're also losing those beautiful qualities, those Neptunian, dreamy, imaginative things about us, the qualities about us that allow us to desire more and want more and tap into what we're truly here for. So instead, we find ourselves living this life that is like maybe what our parents or our parents' did instead of what we truly want to do. So here's what I want you to remember. Your dream is not a tease. It is not here to torment you, and it is not here to cause you pain and suffering. The pain you're feeling isn't from wanting too much. It's actually from the disconnection between who you are and who you're becoming. That gap is what causes the pain and is what's meant to serve as a motivator, as the seeding of desire for you to close that gap, to actualize your dream. So I want you to consider this as your invitation to remember your truth, to start to dream again, right? You don't have to act, you don't have to go crazy, but just start to really think about like, what do you actually want? Like if you could have anything that you truly desire when you think about your day-to-day life, the people who are in it, the experiences that you have, what are the things that you truly want? Now, when you think about this, you might think, you know what? I just want to lay by the beach all day and read a book. Amazing. Let yourself feel into that. This doesn't have to be work related. It doesn't have to be like, well, how am I going to do that 8 hours a day? Because again, that's conditioning that says this is how I'm supposed to be spending my 8 hours a day. Now, Saturn's going to come in and Saturn's going to say, but how do we, again, here's the dream as I reach for the stars. How am I going to make that a reality? How am I going to earth that? Right? There'll be a time for that. But what happens is when we don't let our imagination run wild to begin with, our creativity shrinks, and therefore we don't really have much to choose from. We don't have a lot of options because we haven't let our wondrous mind go into all the, far-reaching places so that we have plenty of options to choose from. And what I have found in over 20 years of working with clients is that what you think is possible versus what is actually possible, there is a massive gap, right? Something feels so far out of reach, and it is from where you're at, right? Like when we want the big things, it is going to feel out of reach, but this step isn't. And then when we get there, this next step, it's not out of reach. And then this one is not out of reach. So this is why if we were to just be realistic all the time and ask, how is this dream possible? Well, it's not. I might as well give up. Instead, we want to be really creative, really expansive. And then we want to come back into our intellect and our problem solving skills to ask, how can I make that happen? And also, who would I need to become in order to be a match for that reality, right? As I mentioned at the start, you are not the same version of yourself that you were 20 years ago, or when you first started working, or when you first started having relationships. You are not that version. And so the version of you that can hold the dream, the version of you that can become that next level, there needs to be a recalibration that takes place. And this is why I created my program that is launching in a couple of weeks, the Identity Rebirth. But this program is all about like up leveling and not just talking about it, but being about it, right? So if you want to actualize your vision and your dream, you have to be on the edge of becoming. You have to be ready to step into the version of you that is willing to make hard decisions, that is willing to back yourself, that is willing to be vulnerable, that is willing to stand in your truth, that is willing to be seen, the version of you who gives no F's what other people think, the version of you who, even if you do care, you are going to be bold and courageous and take the leap anyway. And that is difficult to become that version because the old version has to die. The old version has to be let go of. And this is where what I see is people, as much as they want to grow, as much as they want their vision, they want comfort and familiarity more. And the current version allows you to feel comfortable, even if it's uncomfortable. Even if staying the same doesn't feel good, the idea of the unfamiliar, uncertainty can feel so uncomfortable for people that they're not willing to change. And this is where I come in because I love walking that path with people. I love being able to support them in that becoming process whereby they don't feel like they're doing it alone. They don't feel like they're lost and they're not quite sure if they're on the right track. They've got me to anchor them and to hold them steady and consistent and in alignment with that vision and that dream. So if you're feeling called to explore an identity rebirth, whether it's in a group format, which is about to launch in a couple of weeks, it'll be kicking off, or if you're feeling called to do this work in a one-to-one capacity, feel free to reach out to me because this is where it's at. I have been using this formula method, I would say, whatever you want to call it. I've been using this for like the last couple of years, like really deeply, and in a really focused, intentional way. And like my life has completely changed. I don't even feel like the version of me that existed, like in fairness, 2 weeks ago before I did my original podcast. I definitely don't feel like the version of me that existed in January 2025. And anywhere beyond that, sometimes now I catch myself being like, oh, bless her. Like, I just want to give her a hug because I just know more than what she knew, and I just see things so differently, and I'm just not the same. And, I just have so much gratitude for all of those past versions of me that did the work to get me into this place today where I am doing the things, I'm doing the things that I one day dreamt of doing. right? I think I mentioned in the first podcast that hosting a podcast and being a guest on a podcast was literally on my vision board. And that was from last year. But I knew that it still needed time to percolate and manifest. And this year in January, I had my first experience as a guest on a podcast. And now in May, just like 5 months later, I've started my very own. And this is what I desire for you. This is what I deeply desire for all my clients, is that you live life on your terms, doing the things that bring you joy, doing the things that are soul aligned. And while we have to be rooted in the practicalities as Saturn will have us, life will do that enough to us. Life will bring us back to reality and have us recalibrate. But if we're not doing the work to dream and to imagine, then we're choosing to live in a reality that is completely misaligned and undoubtedly going to lead to us feeling deeply unhappy, deeply unfulfilled, deeply dissatisfied. So consider this your invitation. Consider this your invitation to remember your truth, to dream again, to want what you want unapologetically. It's your dream. You get to have it. Like, you get to bring it into reality. Let yourself go there. And when you do, what do you see? What do you dream up? What kind of magic is there in your soul? What kind of magic sets your soul on fire? Do you see yourself on stage? Do you see yourself igniting a room with your words or your presence? Do you see yourself in a relationship where your nervous system just exhales because it feels so delicious and so safe and so good? Are you fully seen and celebrated and desired? Like, in a relationship, maybe you want to be celebrated on stage. Maybe you want to be celebrated in a career. Do you see yourself speaking your truth without fear? Do you see yourself with friends, family, colleagues, partners alike, speaking what is true and real for you without fear of judgment? Do you see yourself leading or creating or thriving? Whatever it is, just let yourself feel it. Write it down, speak it out loud. Words are spells, they're magical, right? And when that voice of doubt creeps in, I want you to just say, I'm exploring what's possible. You don't have to leap today, right? You don't have to do anything. But when that voice comes in, I am just exploring what's possible. Back off. Let me have the dream. Let me have the fantasy, right? So we need to kind of manage that Saturnian energy that wants to bring us down to reality while we connect to the Neptunian dream of what could be. So that's it for today, my love. If this episode stirred something in you, I want to hear about it. I love hearing from you all. And you can either pop a comment below, or you can send me a message on Instagram, Facebook, email. I'm everywhere, all the usual places, so feel free to reach out. And if you haven't yet, please like this episode if you liked it. And I would love for you to subscribe. It can really help me to build the channel. And also, of course, share this podcast with those who might resonate with it. Most people are on the edge of becoming somewhere in their lives. So this information, this wisdom, this conversation might help people more than you realize. So please share where you feel called to. And just remember, if you have a vision, if you have a dream, it's because it already exists. Biggest love from me, and I'll see you on the next one.